Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are well. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about Abraham, your faith and obedience. But before I do that, make sure if you're not subscribed, you subscribe. That's how you help me, by subscribing, hitting the like if you want to. If you don't like the video, still subscribe. Maybe the next time I'll drop something you like. I don't know. But I'm excited about this video, so let's get into it. So I'm assuming that a lot of us already know the story of Abraham and Isaac, but just in case you're here and you don't know, I'm going to give you a quick synopsis. So Abraham loves God, right? And God is like, if you really love me, I want you to sacrifice your one and only son that you love. Now, Abraham and Sarah got this child when they were very old, around 99, I believe. And God actually promised that son to them. And yeah, he really loves this son that he ends up getting in his old age. So he cherishes him a lot. So wants him to sacrifice him because we're supposed to put God first. So God is like, if you really love me, I'm asking you to go. And well, he's telling him to go to this mountain and sacrifice Isaac. So that's in Genesis 22, 1 to 18. So I'm going to fast forward a little. You guys can definitely read it. It's such a good story. You really learn a lot. So I invite and encourage you guys to read it if you've never heard of it. But I'm going to skip forward to verse 6, which says, And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it on Isaac his son. And he took in his hand the fire and the knife. So they went both of them together. And Isaac said to his father Abraham, My father. And he said, Here I am, son. He said, Behold, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? Abraham said, God will provide for himself the lamb for a burnt offering, my son. So they went both of them together. So actually at this point, Abraham already knows that he has to sacrifice his son, and Isaac is there. He's like, I don't see a lamb. So who are we about to go up to this mountain to sacrifice? Not knowing it's him. But his father says, and I believe this is him saying this in faith, right? He says, God will provide for himself the lamb. So they went up there, of course, and well, he prepares Isaac to sacrifice him, right? He puts him, because back then what you would do is put the lamb there, and of course you kill it before God. And how I do my Bible study, I pause and I picture things and I talk to myself. So at this point I'm like, what type of scene is this? Because when Isaac realizes that he's the sacrifice, does he cry? Does he scream? Does he have, in the moment, does he hate his father? You know, what does he think? We don't know, right? Because the Bible does not tell us. But no one wants to be sacrificed by their father, right? We want to be loved. So there are certain things that God will call us to do, and it will confuse us, even others. And in the moment, even the people that it's affecting, they won't understand at first. Because when I'm reading this, I'm like, what happens after this? Is Isaac going to love his father? Are they going to have a good relationship after? What's going to happen, right? But don't worry, we're going to find out. So there are certain things God calls us to do. It just does not make sense. So anyway, let's fast forward. Then Abraham, this is verse 10, Then Abraham reached out his hand and took the knife to slaughter his son. But the angel of the Lord called to him from heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. He said, Do not lay your hand on the boy or do anything to him. For now I know that you fear God, seeing you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me. So before he sacrifices him, an angel actually appears and stops him, because he's right there about to literally stab him, and the angel stops him and said, Stop. God realizes now that you actually fear him. And this is where I think this scenario is the utmost representation of the saying, obedience is better than sacrifice. Actually, that's a verse, I'm pretty sure. Obedience is better than sacrifice, because there's so many things God would be calling us to sacrifice again because we don't understand. We want to hold on to it, because why would God call me to sacrifice this guy that I really love, right, and he treats me well? Or why would God call me to sacrifice this job that's paying me well and I really like? Or why would God call me to sacrifice certain friendships and I feel as if I can change them? And it doesn't make sense. But here Abraham shows that to be obedient is way better. So if God is calling you to do something, it's best you be obedient. I'm not even saying that the same thing will happen to you where you're about to obey what God is telling you to let go of, and he's like, all right, so I see you obeying, so it's all right, keep the boy or keep the job. Sometimes that doesn't happen, but still there's a reason God is calling you to do it. And when you obey, it's only after obeying do we really get to understand it. Or sometimes we don't even understand it, but we do understand, like, okay, God, I see that you're doing something and I will obey. And it's after that obedience that you're like, wow, God, I get it now. So Abraham called the name of the place, the Lord will provide. As it is said, on the mount of the Lord it shall be provided. And the angel of the Lord called to Abraham a second time from heaven and said, by myself I have sworn, declares the Lord, because you have done this and have not withheld your son, your only son, I will surely bless you, and I will surely multiply your offspring as the stars of heaven, and as the sand that is on the seashore. And your offspring shall possess the gate of his enemies. And in your offspring shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice. Now Abraham could have withheld his son, right? He could have really said, this is my son, I would like to keep him because I love him, and forget what God said and miss out on his blessing, miss out on even Isaac being blessed. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him was a ram. Now do you remember earlier where in faith he told Isaac, God will provide the offering? And I would like to believe, because in this moment, I don't know what's going on with Isaac, but I would like to believe, because Abraham said that in faith in the beginning, it affected Isaac. Like Isaac, at this point, when he saw that ram, because I know he's about to see that, listen, I'm about to die. And then this all happens. I don't know if he hears the voice of the angel or not. But then, of course, the ram is provided. And it's so like that with our faith. Like in the beginning, people won't understand. But our faith actually has the ability to either muster up faith in someone else or the power to bring about results that will allow others to be exposed to God's glory. Because here Isaac would have been able to see like, wow, God provided. There was no ram, and now here out of anywhere, God provided. And I actually skipped forward to Genesis 25, and Isaac actually stays with his father, because I'm wondering, does he leave? What happens after this? And I believe it's because of that the faith of Abraham, and then God, of course, responding to that faith, that Isaac was able to not have hate in his heart towards his father, but to ultimately see God's glory being manifested. So he actually he ends up having a relationship with God himself. You can read it, but up until 25, up to his father's deathbed, he is actually there with his father. And of course, Isaac even reaps the benefit of his father's faith, because, right, his father was obedient. So it's a short synopsis, but I just want you guys to learn that about Abraham, right, and your faith and your obedience, how your obedience would be able to not only bless you but others. But don't even do it just for the blessing, just because God knows best. And although you don't understand, this obedience to God is way better than anything else, right? And also that your faith in God through your obedience, through your acts of service to him, can really not only change you, but it can change the hearts of men. It can bring others to Christ, and it can also bless generations to come, because Abraham dies, but the generations are blessed because of Abraham himself. That's why we say, Father Abraham has many sons, and many sons has Father Abraham. I am one of them, and so are you. That is because of Abraham and his faith, right? So I hope this encourages someone. I pray that you guys are well and you're staying connected to God. Trust me, if you stay connected to God, I'm learning that you can get revelations just as how I get revelations and come to you with these videos, so can you. So I hope to see you guys on my next video. Bye.